Okay, hi all, it's your girl, Ice Gem, and this is episode 5 of Real Talk, um, which is a segment on my channel where I talk about like things that I've had lived experience of. And today is mold illness, okay? So, a little bit nervous about this one because it's not like controversial or anything, but it kind of is a little bit. It's like environmental and stuff, so really the only medical people who take something like this serious are, you know, functional doctors. Obviously, I'm just a person sharing my lived experience right now. I'm not a doctor, and this is not medical advice at all. Okay, so let's start my mold story. I was always like a little bit allergic to mold, like the allergy, which is the widely accepted part of mold illness. You know, itchy eyes, stuffy nose, sore throat, maybe like sneezing and stuff. Yeah, that was like my whole life. I've always been like a little bit allergic to it. But then I moved to a particular place. It was a basement room, and when I moved in, the porch had like mold in it, and when I moved the bed, it was like just like it's called a HMO in the UK, but it's like a house where everyone shares a room. And I moved the bed because the landlord sort of mentioned about like mold growing there or something. He mentioned something, and he was like blaming the previous tenant for having showers. These rooms actually had en suites, which was really nice. It was a really nice room apart from the mold, which is a real shame. Yeah, so I moved that and like cleaned off the mold off the wall. I just used bleach. Would not recommend doing that. I don't use bleach anymore to clean mold. I try to just use bicarb white vinegar because it prevents additional toxins being released. Anyway, so it's quite mouldy, this wall. Bleached that, and yeah, within a few days, at most weeks, I started having like stomach problems. And this was during the COVID times. Right at the beginning, it was just before the lockdowns that it started, but by the time I was dealing with like medical people and stuff, do you know what I mean? It had started, so it was all over the phone, everything, which is pretty normal now actually for the doctors. There's only certain things that go in for. A lot of the appointments are over the phone now here. Anyway, so I didn't want to go for like the tests or whatever, the tube down and up. I was like, no, thank you. They said fine. Suspected IBS and gave me like a proton pump inhibitor, which is like lansoprazole. Anyway, that helped with that symptom for quite a long time, and I was okay, really. That was my first symptom, and that's all I had at first, but it was really severe. Like, I was always on the toilet, and I was puking, and I couldn't eat at all, and I like wasted away a little bit. Probably hard to believe looking at me now, but yeah, I like really lost a lot of weight. I remember a friend hugging me, and she was like, oh my god, you're so small, where have you gone? Because I had like a big jumper on or whatever. It's the winter, I think. And yeah, the lansoprazole seemed to like fix that for then. And then I was okay for a long time, you know. I stayed in one of the other basement rooms because I was with someone who lived there, and I cleaned his porch. Just the cleaning of mold is just, I really regret that, like the cleaning of the mold in this place, isn't it? I do think it accelerated the illness and made it a lot worse. Anyway, there's a big porch, whole porch covered in all different colours. I have no way of telling which molds are what, but it doesn't really matter. Like, they don't grow like, you know, they all grow together, like, so yeah. And after that, I felt really ill for 2 weeks. I felt really, really ill after cleaning that, and I did it again with bleach. The landlord there had given us £5 to buy professional mould remover or whatever, which was just enough for one bottle, and it was a lot, so I bought bleach instead, because it's basically, that mould remover is like bleach and surfactants. It's similar. It was a similar product. It still had bleach in. So yeah, I was like really ill for 2 weeks, like cold flu type symptoms, I suppose. And that's when the fatigue started. I did experience like fatigue before that from like other things, but that's when I would say the fatigue from the mould illness started. Yeah, and after that I was just really, really unwell. My health has really gone downhill since then, and it's hard to say what's caused what, but coincidentally, and I will make a video about this subject separately, that is when my functional seizures started as well. But yeah, I'll make a video about that because there is other factors, and I don't know if that was environmental or related to mould. Anyway, so eventually I got out of that place, and where I am now is supported housing. But they never really provided the support. But the whole idea was, like, my community mental health team, you know, so it got me this place. Well, they actually got me another place in a different building. Also mouldy, by the way. The other building probably would have been worse than here, by the sounds of things. But anyway, they did a bait and switch, and I was here. And I viewed it and everything, and I was like so happy. Oh, I'm getting out the mould. I threw away loads of stuff that couldn't be cleaned, had mould on it, had, like, you know, been in contact with water. I threw away so much stuff. I was like, right. And there's like industrial washing machines here, and I was like, I'm going to clean all my stuff and finally be free of the mould. You know, it was all new furniture, new beds. They provided like sofas. There was stuff like left over from the previous tenant, and but it was new. Like the mattress still had the, you know, the plastic on, and the bed wasn't even like tightened and put together. Anyway, it all seemed fine until I go around the back to look at my gas meter, and the windows were wooden, and they're painted and glossed and in good condition inside. On the outside, they were completely rotten and falling apart. Just completely. I do have photos, but I'm just gonna talk face to face. I don't really want to like add in a bunch of stuff. So probably the only people who are listening at this point are people who are either interested in mould illness or have it themselves. I don't know, maybe not, but I'll just continue on with the story. So the windows were so many different colours of mould, and yeah, so I was like, oh my god, I've got to buy a dehumidifier. So I bought one dehumidifier, which this is 145 square meters, this flat, and I went overboard. You know, I bought one that was big enough to do a 3-bedroom house. I thought, you know, okay, so that'll be enough. You know, it'll definitely cover the whole flat, right? That's what I thought. So I put it on, and like it's like high. It just said high, and then when the numbers come down, it come down to like 90. So the humidity was insane, absolutely insane. And yeah, I put that in the bedroom because my bed sheets were like getting wet. It wasn't just damp, it was like a wetness. Things still get wet in there even with the dehumidifiers. Obviously I've turned all the machines off to make the video, but there's like a lot of machines I run in here. Yeah, so that's where it started, and then I got an air purifier, I think, for in there. I don't know. Anyway, so the journey starts with air purifiers and dehumidifiers, and you know, that one wasn't enough. I needed another dehumidifier for the kitchen eventually, and then like the air purification, I noticed it's just like, you know, buying more and more. They replaced the windows, didn't like treat the mould. Basically they sent a guy in with mould paint to paint around the edge, and they replaced the windows. There has been a lot of law changes in the UK about mould. The problem is it's really focused around visible mould. So yeah, painting obviously over it with, I mean, it was good. They did mould treatment paint, I guess. But for me, with mould illness, that wasn't enough really to stop the mould illness. Right, we're running on a bit. So, got new windows, still getting the mould illness, still ill, still buying more and more air purifiers, costing me a fortune, by the way, in electric and filters. And I'm just like about to move out, but a while ago I noticed mould under the counter in my kitchen. So I told the landlord, they came, they sprayed it with that stuff I mentioned earlier at the other place. It's like bleach mixed with surfactant, and they just sprayed it, right? And they sent someone round, or I had to arrange it, I can't remember, to look at the boiler, and he just basically glued the condensate pipe. But the boiler, the water pump has been broken this whole time, and it's when the engineers come out, they're just like resetting it. So it's taking days to get them to come, and I like, with my mobility and my pain, I need the heating on in the winter. I'll get onto like my mobility and issues in a different video. So anyway, yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before? The other day, the boiler's like really breaking down. But where I'm moving, I'm just like, I'm not dealing with this anymore. Like the water pump, I take it away, it's totally corroded, you know, like there's a pool of water there, and the board that goes over the boiler is mouldy, just riddled with mould. And I just, honestly, I wanted to throw it away, but like, then I was worried like it's gonna uncase that bit of mould, and it's just frustrating because I reported it. I had the mould team round, and I had the boiler people round. I had the boiler people round multiple times, and I, you know, was just resetting the boiler really, but obviously it was leaking. I didn't know until the other day, but I'm just really hoping this next place is going to be mould free, because I'm doing the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've been homeless before. When I moved out of mould, I threw so many things away. This time I'm throwing away all these mouldy furnitures and stuff, and I'm having to start again. It's like a catastrophic thing. If the mould doesn't make you ill, you can just take all the stuff with you and you're fine. But with the mould illness, like, obviously I want to get better. Like, I'm on a really strict diet because of it. Every area of lymph nodes is like congested and massive. I've had them checked and they have gone down 0.5 centimetre since being on this diet, but they're still like congested, and it started as soon as I moved in here. And yeah, I feel better. I'm on a 0 carb diet. I'll probably maybe make a separate video about that because time's running on. But yeah, that wasn't necessarily the reason I went on that diet, but as it turned out, when I researched the mold more, like how to clean, how to prevent, and all of this, like yeah, it came up a lot, this diet, and I was just thankful I was on it. And it has like, sorry, that's my speaker going off. Every video is like my speaker turning off. And oh, that's broke my concentration proper. I am grateful for that diet because I do feel a lot better. I was just laid up in bed at one point, just laying there. Like, I literally couldn't move, like, it got that bad. It's hard to explain, but it's just so nice when I'm out in the fresh air and it like fades off and I can think clearly again. Like, it's just like such foggy thinking, and like it's ruined my face and like my body. I'm like swollen. God, so just pray for me that this next place is mold free. Oh, sorry, another alarm went off and interrupted the end of the video, but that was it. That was the end anyway. If you enjoyed the video, you know, that'd be great if you could like the video. If you're interested in like seeing more, then you could subscribe. And like, if anyone watching this has been through this experience and like feels comfortable sharing, like maybe how they healed, or if you're in it now and feel really alone and unheard, like, yeah, you can always like comment on this, or I just want you to know that, you know, you're not alone in this, and it is happening, and I'm just so sorry if you're in this situation with the mould illness. I really am. Okay, peace be with you, everyone. Bye.